first. All right, so I believe everybody's here now. I'm going to go ahead and get us just started. Since it's a virtual meeting, we're going back to a hybrid mix, or going to a hybrid mix. And so this evening, we will be taking public comment, one of basically three ways. Going forward will be four. But you can, going forward, you can drop them off in the blue drop box that's in front of the building. You can email them to publiccomment@newtowntownship.org, and that's publiccomment@newtowntownship.org. We will take those public comments up until the start of the meeting. Once the meeting starts, we will not be monitoring the emails, but we will monitor the emails up to the start of the meeting. You can also do it throughout the meeting by raising your hand virtually, or by phoning in the phone in option, which also allows you to raise your hand, and we will recognize you. If you do have any problems, please let us know, and we'll monitor the public comment mailbox for that purpose. So it's public comment at Newtown Township. We will use that as a way to monitor for that, but we won't be monitoring it just for public comment. We'll be monitoring to make sure if somebody has a problem. So I will turn it over to the Parks and Rec Board. This is a reorg meeting, so they'll be selecting their chair and those kind of things. And so I'll turn it back over to them and let them get started. Pete, can you hear us?
I can.
Do you hear Wade? We're doing roll call.
I don't know. I just hear you.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, now
I'm
try.
sorry. That's my fault. So we're doing roll call, Pete.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay. And Bill Potzik?
Here.
Oh,
So Wade, since your mic wasn't turned on, just for the record, so
Okay.
that we have it on the
All right.
recording, would you just go ahead and just do the other three of you, just so that we all know that everybody's here?
all right. Second roll call, Caitlin?
Here.
Jonathan?
Here.
Wade here.
Oh, that's good.
And now we'll have a moment of silence. Please keep in your thoughts the family that perished in Philadelphia over the weekend. And we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of the United States of America,
to the republic
the republic for which it stands,
one nation.
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we have an appointment of temporary secretary, Steve Neese. Will you be secretary?
I will.
And appointment of temporary chairman, Caitlin, will you be temporary chairman?
Yes.
So the agenda, consider approving the
So
agenda.
with Caitlin now as the
Oh,
temporary
you
chair,
do.
she'll run the
Okay.
meeting
Okay.
until we get to the point that
All
we
right.
elect the chair.
All right,
Okay, so for the agenda, we'd like to consider approving the agenda for the January 6th, 2022 meeting. All in
Just to
favor?
get a motion.
Motion to approve,
motion to
Motion
approve.
to approve. Second.
second, okay.
All those in favor? Do we have to do all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
In favor, aye,
Aye.
unanimous.
Aye.
And go ahead and do your minutes.
And consider, is there a motion to approve the minutes from the November 4th, 2021 meeting?
Motion to approve.
To approve, Is there a second?
I'll
Sure.
second it.
Thank you. All in favor of approving the November 4th, 2021 minutes? All.
Aye.
Aye.
Say aye.
That brings us to the election of officers. First, we'll discuss election of chairman.
I nominate Wade Pollock to be reelected as chairman.
Do you have any interest at all, Caitlin?
I would
He's
second Bill's
He's
nomination.
He's done a wonderful job. He's done a wonderful job over the last several years.
That was really quick.
I would suggest a election by acclamation.
Wait, is that
Okay.
okay?
All
Yes.
those in favor?
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wade.
Thank you, Wade.
Thanks, Wade.
Thank you.
Election of vice chair.
Peter, are you willing to go again?
Yes, I am.
Great. All in favor of Pete as vice chair?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Pete.
Another unanimous
you.
vote.
Thanks.
And election of secretary?
Jonathan? I'm willing. Okay.
All in favor of Jonathan as secretary?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Jonathan.
All right, so now you'll turn it back over to Wade
Okay,
or turn it over to Wade as the chair.
okay, to Wade, the re-elected chairman for the reports.
And I guess, Steve, you're going to give us a public.
I am going to give you a
Works
public
update?
works report. I sent George home so that he could get some rest due to what we're expecting this evening.
Mhm.
And so, and it was an easy report. December was a fairly quiet month at our parks. And that's good news and bad news. You know, it's winter time, so people aren't out there as much. He and I have discussed the potential need in light of where we are with the current COVID situation, that we're probably going to try to get out and do a little bit more cleaning again on the playground equipment, even though it's not being used as much. But the bathrooms are all closed down at Drexel Lodge. And so later on your agenda tonight, we'll talk about the goose problem at Drexel Lodge. And it's actually a problem at several of our parks. So we will talk about that a little later, but that's your basic public works report. It's been kind of a quiet time, which is good news. And we're looking forward to the spring when we can get the parks back open and everybody really get to enjoy them again.
Yes.
Thank you. We go to new business. 11.1, discuss the possibility of adding a chalk art event for spring or summer. So there was a chalk art artist in the circle who was doing some work, and Sheila gave me her number. I talked to her. She is willing to do some type of chalk art event, lead us in that effort. I'm not sure where we should do it. My original thoughts were trying to get a corporate sponsor and do it in their parking lot, but you know, our charter is Parks and Rec, and we're trying to get people out to the park. So I'm not sure a parking lot of a corporate office is a good choice. The park might be better. Drexel Lodge, if we just blocked off the entrance and used that for a 4-hour period or something, might work. I don't know if there's any other options. I don't know.
To be the parking area at Drexel Lodge.
Yeah, because that would be the blacktop. It would
Right.
provide most. You could use most of that road there all the way to the bathrooms. I guess it gets washed away when people drive on it.
The other, I guess, one area that we have the parking lot over by Greer Park that's there.
Oh, yeah.
So you could potentially do it there as well if you were, you know, it might be a nice way if you want to tie in what we're, you know, where we are with Greer Park and some things that we're looking at doing there. So
All right.
How about the basketball court at Newbie Park.
Oh,
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
It's a very nice surface for doing many things, but chalk art should be a plus, actually make it nicer.
Does it need to be blacktop or,
I think they can do it on sidewalk as well,
Okay.
depending on how rough, what type of surface it is. Yeah, I'll drive around and look at those areas and think that might be a good
The
idea.
other thing, if we want it to be very visible, would be to close half of the circle out St. Elmo's Circle and use one half for art. And during the period of time that art was occurring, people who come through on the other open side, I mean, traffic would have to be redirected, but would see the project underway. And, that might have a positive effect overall. Then when you open it up, of course, they drive around the whole thing and eventually it'll disappear because it'll be picked up on the tires.
well, I had the same thought about the basketball park at Newbie. We had talked about maybe a community helper, meet the community helpers, maybe bring in like a fire truck to
Right,
Newbie to get a
right.
little more activity that way. I don't know how big this event would be, but would it be considered maybe combining them? So there's chalk art and then there's a truck with a fireman or woman.
Yeah, I
maybe.
mean,
Or maybe it's better to have separate and.
I
more
can't
focused
think of
events.
anything else to do, I've been trying to think of ideas. I don't know if you guys have to do something at Newbie. So it might be a good idea.
Would parking be an issue at Newbie? There's not a lot.
Right. There is a side street there. There's two entrances, right?
there are two entrances. There's the lower entrance. And there's a little bit of parking down at that location. I believe that's off of, is it Doe down there? I forget.
Yeah,
I think it's Doe or D or one of the two. And then obviously on the top side, there's that cul-de-sac area, and then you obviously could go up either one of those two streets.
Oh, right.
Parking on the side.
Right.
If it's for, I mean, obviously you're not gonna be there for hours and hours and hours, but for a couple hours, it probably would work.
Right.
Wade, hi, it's Sheila. I thought we also talked about at Newbie, in addition to the chalk art, we could look to do an ice cream social in addition to having the police dog there and some activity. And that was really a way to promote positive action going on at Newbie. And
Right.
it's a really affordable way to bring a lot of attention to Newbie, but also kind of get your message out with the police dog and have an ice cream social and things of that nature would be a really good community event. And also setting up ways of sharing information about maybe safety or anything that you could think of would be a great way to kind of get with other organizations, maybe even the Shade Tree, environmental, any of those other groups would be a great way to kind of piggyback off that.
Right. So, I mean, it would work. Steve, you said this, we can use the street. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
So
that's-
I guess there would be sufficient parking. Should we do a motion tonight, or you want to do a little more research and discussion on it?
Maybe we should save it for next
Okay.
meeting.
Yeah, I think that, maybe a couple of you kind of, and I say a couple because you can't be three of you together, but if two of you get together and maybe start planning like what types of events that you'd like to have and come back with a recommendation to your committee, to your board, and then you can make a decision and move forward.
Okay.
Okay.
Who wants to volunteer
I
for
can,
that?
I can be one of the
Okay.
two to help with that. And
Sheila, was that, you said you had talked about that before. Was that with the EAC that?
No, that was with Wade. We were just talking about some ideas to, I found the woman who did the chalk art at the circle. And I just found her one morning when I was out walking and I asked her if she could find a way to kind of provide this for a community event. So we were looking at, exploring ways. So Wade and I were just talking about things that we could do to kind of encourage use for our parks. And obviously, Newbie or Drexel Lodge or whatever park you decide is great. And it was just looking at the ice cream social was an idea to bring in a lot of young kids and activities. And then also, since we talked about the previous police activity there, it was a great way to maybe have some partner liaison with the township police and maybe the dog and just some kind of positive activity.
Oh, it sounds like it'll work. So I'll work with you as well on that.
I know the last time we talked about things like this, we were thinking, since Broomall has their park right nearby, I'm wondering if you'd be interested in maybe speaking with them about maybe some kind of combined thing. Maybe their police would have something, I think just cross between the two parks. I'm not sure, but
Right.
just a thought. If we're doing something at Newbie.
And they're pretty active. They have a couple of different recreation organizations there.
That's good. I like that.
All right, so we'll add it back to the agenda next time and either vote on it or we'll discuss it further. And then discussion and possible approval of the meeting schedule, Parks and Rec meeting schedule.
Yeah, so the board actually approved your schedule.
Okay,
So more, it's more meant to be informative, to let you know, you don't have to take any action,
okay,
but you'll be the first Thursday of the month, which you've been in the past. So you're
Always.
staying the same. No real change there.
good. We don't like change.
Still at 7 o'clock.
All right, now we're going to 11.3, discuss goose problem at Drexel Lodge Park and other parks.
Yeah, so George and I have been talking about this a little bit. We had a pretty bad problem. We've had a pretty bad problem for several years at Greer Park. And what we're noticing is that problem is staying the same there, but we're also seeing an increase in the problem at Drexel Lodge Park. They're able to get to out of the edge of the water and into the edge of the water, which gives them, they're doing their nesting and they're doing some of those things. There are obviously a couple ways to go about this. There's a couple organizations out there that bring dogs in that chase them off, and but you got to do that for a very long period of time. You got to be very consistent, and typically they come back. It's not something you can do once and done. It's a long-term approach. The other thing is you can, I forget which organization he told me you can work with, but you can work with one of the animal organizations, and then you bring in basically our animal warden, and they collect the eggs. And by collecting the eggs, I guess geese return to where they were born is their piece. And so if we did that, we might consider taking the two parks and tackling both parks, with an egg collection. And I don't know what they do with that. I honestly don't know if they destroy the eggs or if they move the eggs someplace else. I don't know that answer.
They're supposed to oil the eggs.
That's I've heard.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay.
Oil. So they continue to sit on them even though they're never going to hatch.
Okay.
Right.
So anyway, so that's one option as well, and we could look at doing that. The challenge that we're coming up with is that as this goose problem increases at both parks, particularly at Drexel Lodge, it's becoming harder for us to keep it clean enough to be able to do even just the concerts, because every place where people would sit on the grass, we've got droppings everywhere and things like that.
But they're not just near the pond.
They're not just near the pond, they're actually walking all through that area. And they can be rather aggressive at times. They are very territorial. And so just wanting to, we don't have to have an answer today, but probably at our February meeting, we need to have something so that we can make a recommendation to the board of supervisors as to what way you think is the possible way you'd like to consider doing this. We're looking at both those two methods.
You know what the cost is there, Steve?
We don't yet, and that's what we're trying to get into to see what that would be. Obviously, one's a little bit more set because if you have somebody coming out, they give you a number of times they're coming out. When you're trying to find the eggs, I think that's a little bit more of a challenge because you're actually having to find where all the nesting spots are. And so that's a little different. But if you're doing the dog or whoever like that chases them off that way, that's usually, it's usually something you do have to have done every day. It's a repeat kind of thing over a period of time.
Is it one dog that, or
It's so,
you?
the people that I know that do this, usually they have 2 or 3 dogs that they've trained for this purpose. And they are, they probably run at least 2 dogs most of the time when they're out on the site. And, but I can't say that everybody does it that way. It's just the ones I know. So I think the long-term best approach is probably the egg method in that as I understand it, it's a several-year process because you're having to do it every year until the generation that was the youngest generation is no longer coming back to that site, if that makes sense.
Well, you'd have to do it in the entire lifespan.
Yes, of a goose.
Wow.
And I am,
Well,
how long?
in terms of immediate use, the dogs can be very effective. And since we can't buy Sheila a dog, I think thinking of a combined approach that is a short-term cleansing of the area to get the dogs to chase them away. And then long-term, back it up with the egg collection or the oiling of the eggs or whatever. So we can't be, if we think long-term, we can forget about using the parks in any different way for at least the next season or 2. So a short-term solution and a long-term solution possibly could be combined. We really need to find the cost of it. And once we know the cost, then that can be factored into our budget.
Guys, also, there's another approach in addition to the 2 that you mentioned. There's 2 Fox's Den down at Greer Park, and I know where their locations are. 3 of the foxes in one of them have mange. So if we could look into providing the antibiotics through and place the meat near the Fox's Den, the foxes will be able to naturally go after these geese and nature will take its course. But the 3 of the foxes that have mange right now, which is an infection which could kill the entire den if it's not eradicated. And it's just a natural antibiotic. I know a lot of cattle and farmers, up in Lancaster, they sell this without a prescription, but down here we would need a prescription, but we would put it in the meat near the den and the foxes would be saved. And then they would be able to help us naturally take care of the geese.
But I wonder if that vet hospital might want to help. Or the vet.
Colonial vet
Yeah,
on the corner?
or there's 2 of them, I believe, in the town.
Yeah, I think you'd be better to go to the new vet. Heather is her name. I just took my dog there, and what good care. I mean, she's really at the top of the game as far as knowing animals, I think.
Is that in Auburn Circle?
Yeah, the one, yeah. She's new. I think she's about 5 or 8 years into the community. That's when she started her practice. I have her contact information.
It looks like a Canadian geese live for 10 to 24 years.
Oh, my gosh.
That's, I just Googled the
24.
lifespan, 10 to 24 years.
I won't be here in 24 years. Sheila's
Don't
happy
be so
about
sure.
Well, I don't want to be here in 24 years.
That's a different issue.
Yes, it is. Just to let you know, we went to when I was teaching school. I took our 6th grade teachers took all the kids to Statue of Liberty Island, and on the day they were having a wedding out there, and actually it was not no, I'm sorry, it was out by Ellis Island, and anyway, the geese were a major problem, but there was a guy who one of the workers there had a border collie whose job was to keep the geese off the island, and the border collie did a wonderful job because he would, whenever he saw geese coming in, he'd go try to eat it, and the geese finally got the message, we're not welcome. So I think a dog, along with a fox idea, I think that's great, Sheila. I think, yeah, it's gonna.
That's such an, for Sheila, that's kind of a natural solution, but it's very similar to the dog situation. But the PGA uses dogs regularly in advance of tournaments, and it works extremely well. And so something combined like the foxes or dogs and the egg issue for the long term, maybe that's the solution. And the thing about the guy at Ellis Island, of course, is that he's there probably all the time, and his dog is there
every day.
all the time. So
right,
a really good solution would be buy a border collie for Sheila.
No, wait, my little white Westie is almost dead, so I'll take the border collie, and then I'll just work. I'll work for the township at that point for free.
As long as my tax bill is going reduced because you guys are going to feed the animal, take care of the animal, house him, and take care of his vet, no problem.
All right.
Do you think we should do some more research on this, Steve, over the next month?
So what we'll do is George and I'll ask George to work on this with regards to the cost, in regards to looking at maybe a combined approach with the dogs and the eggs, just get an idea of where that is, so that we can present that to you at your next meeting. If somebody wants to reach out to either one of the vets to find out what it would cost to address feeding the fox and getting the antibiotics into that we can do that. But George and I have been talking about the other, so I suspect he's already got some plans of who would be potential for this, and so we'll look at that.
All right. Hey, Pete, since you have the connection with the vet, do you want to ask her?
Sure, I'll ask her. That's Heather, and I forgot her. She's got a big, long last name that's hard to pronounce. So she needs to, yeah. Wade, you and I can talk later about just the name of the antibiotic that we need to get and all that.
Okay.
All right.
And if anyone wants to do any research on any other, there might be some creative ways of, when I worked at Belling, they put silhouettes up. I don't know how effective they were.
Coyote silhouette.
Yeah, they moved them all over the place.
Guys, we talked about this about 3 years ago, and George looked into it because we spoke with we looked at Easttown and seeing what Edgemont was doing because there was an article in the paper about it. So I know George knows a lot of this already because we've already had these length discussions about some of this stuff. So it's, I'll gladly give you anything I have, but I know he knows everything already about this.
All right.
Well, Sheila, you could always take a starting pistol, like at track and field events, and just go out your backyard and shoot them off every so often at Greer.
They are protected animals and you're not allowed to harass the animal.
Or just shout at them.
But in all honesty, guys, right now, they were coming off of Greer and going to the actually new area that was being set up at Ellis Preserve. So in many ways, they just need a place to home into. So if we can provide them that, that would be also a solution. And like you said, to control the geese with the natural ways of doing it through nature and through oiling the eggs. And there also is a chemical deterrent that you spray around it. You just don't want it to be near the water, so it doesn't penetrate into the water system.
Right.
We have around those ponds, we already have like a riparian buffer, right?
I think that the township installed at one time a riparian buffer that was removed.
Yeah, so what's happened at a couple of the places, people have, we've tried to build it up and some people have come in and kind of removed some of those things, and that's been part of the challenge. And as long as the geese have the ability to get in and out, they will continue to do so. So we've put up fences, and the fences have been taken down, things like that. So we've tried multiple times, and some folks like the geese, and so.
Also, Steve, Mike McGraw gave us some information last year about this. He also said anything you can do to keep it from being a direct access to the water, and that's what we were talking about, the riparian buffers, but that causes the geese to not like that, and they will go elsewhere. So again, remind me to be making the public aware that by taking out those grasses and removing the things, they're actually kind of causing the problem to be exacerbated.
Maybe we put a sign up saying, you know, the reason we want to maintain that buffer is to, you know, eliminate the geese so they're not fouling up the lawn, you know, that, I mean, just kind of give information. It's just not there for no reason.
Yeah, we actually did that, and some folks still chose to remove it, so.
Yeah, well, can't depend on that.
Yep. But we'll
Maybe
do whatever we can, and maybe it's a combination of all of these, and hopefully with all of that, we've got some success. So we'll look into it and get you some answers.
So going on to old business, 12.1, discuss concert in the park series. So Caitlin sent her friend's band's music over, and they're kind of like a flogging Maui kind of,
Yeah.
very Irish, very
Celtic Irish
upbeat.
rock.
And I liked it. Do you want me to send those out to the rest of the committee? And I have no
Sure,
other
but-
plans at this point. It's been difficult trying to get anybody to commit to anything.
Sign them up if they'll do it. Sign them up.
They play at the Children's Hospital and a lot of family festivals, so they're very PG, and maybe they'll bring in a high school, college age crowd. Hopefully.
Give it a
Well,
shot.
well, my feeling is since Wade approves and his music tastes are impeccable, I think we should just, you know, I'm with you.
Do it.
You're okay with it, Bill?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Should we vote on that tonight and just get it over with then?
Yeah, that's good.
Is that
All in
okay?
favor?
All those in favor of the name of the band?
Aye.
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 What was the name of
Aye.
it?
BVI.
BBI?
Do we have money to be able to pay them?
No, that's the next part of the discussion.
Maybe we should have had that first.
I think all we have to do is turn that over to Paul, and he'll go get the funds for us.
Okay.
I think there are a couple corporations that have been happy to, local corporations that within Newtown that have been happy to help us sponsor in the past.
Yes.
So we can do that. We've also have some dollars in the budget to help with that if need be. So.
Okay. We'll see what we can do. Wise.
But what we should do is take the step, reach out to them, figure out what their contract would be, understand what that is, make sure we have a date, and then we can start looking.
I thought this was back in November. I thought that we had a monetary amount that we could offer. And so that's what I told them, and they said that would be fine.
Okay,
That was for 1,400.
okay,
That should not be a problem, raising 1,400.
Yep.
So
yep.
I think we're good. I will call Paul tomorrow and ask him to start knocking on doors.
Please.
As well.
He's looking for work.
So that's May 14th is
Yes.
the date, correct?
Yes,
I'm
this Saturday.
May 14th at,
Saturday,
Drexel.
Drexel Lodge Park. It's usually 4 to 6. Is that when we usually do it?
Yes,
Yep. That sounds good.
Okay.
I think that's what it was last year.
Are we going to be able to have the Discmania that day as well?
God willing.
Good.
And so I made contact with Jake Olympi from the high school, does the bands and all that. He is interested in working with us, so I will contact him and let him know that we're doing this to see if there's a chance he might want to have one of his smaller bands come in and perform beforehand.
Cool.
Okay.
Wow.
That'd be great.
Yeah, he seems very interested. And they have a lot of different genres that they cover, so.
Good.
All right, and then, so 12.2 is Greer Park funding update.
Yeah, so I got really good news to share with you. So I think we shared with you that DCED had given us 200,000. We had asked, I think, for 250, but we got 200. And that was meant for the boardwalk piece of the project at Greer Park. And then we had found out for sure that that we had not gotten the portion to actually do the pond, the smaller body of water that we were going to do. But we did get the money from DCNR that would allow us to put in the stream, redirect the stream. And so we're going to go back to DCED and to them. We're going to look at that project. We got 277,000. We found out we had that award just real recently, just right after Christmas, I believe it was. And so we're going to go back to the two funders. We're going to put together a project that makes sense at this time. I know Wade and I are going to meet out at the park, and we're going to talk about some options of what we think we can accomplish with that and some of the money that we have in the budget already, and try to really try to come up with something that helps us take a first step. We'll call it a phase one of the project, and then move forward. But that's exciting news. It wasn't all that we had asked for, but it definitely helps us move forward in the project. And so we're going to see how far we can go with what we've got. And looking at the possibility, I know Wade and I sent an email over to me, and I know we're going to, like I said, get together. We're going to look at even potentially at least getting maybe the playground equipment kind of where it was going to be, if we can figure out how to do access. So if we could do that and the stream, I think that would be a big win for that park as a first start. And then we can work on the other stuff that needs to be done as well.
was there money for shade?
I don't think on that piece, but we can look at something for that as well.
Was that was proposed to the board?
The fundrellas came through. We
Yeah.
I believe we got the money. At
Yeah.
Brookside.
If we're talking about the budget,
Brookside.
yes, but that was for down at, I thought that was for down at,
Brookside.
That was
Primarily
Brookside.
Brookside, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we didn't ask for shade at Greer.
yeah.
It's
So-
the grant money that didn't come through last year. Did they give any hope to say maybe if you reapply, it could come through in the next year?
Oh,
or-
I definitely think we should reapply. I think we need to look at our grant application a little bit and just beef it up and go after it again.
Can I just add something into that real quick? So I, not to interject, but as Stephen said, so we received the DCED grant for 200,000 and the DCNR for 277,000. So 60% of this project is already funded, or the first phase, I should say, is already funded through grants. And all of this, quite frankly, could not have been done if it wasn't for our state representative, Chris Quinn. There was a group that met with him, and he, jumped alongside this with us and really beat the purse up there, if you will, to ensure that we were high priority and that we were able to get the money. So just wanted to make sure. I mean, that's almost $500,000 he got us in grants, including the amount of money that he got us to start this master plan to begin with, was all secured through him as well. So.
Right, which was
wanted to add that.
another $72,000, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he has been,
That's incredible.
yes. he has.
Very good.
So we're going to work on coming up with a total concept project that will get us started, count it as phase one. Then we'll go back again and ask for some more money to do phase two. So we're going to break it up into maybe a little bit smaller bite-sized chunks
Great.
and move forward in that way.
Yeah, and I think DCNR, using a phased approach, they've already funded the master plan. Now they're funding, and DCD both have funded both phases of this project. They're going to fund the third phase most likely if we
Yeah.
do it right.
And the more we do that, the chances of actually getting some outside dollars in addition also help.
Yeah, and we ought not to lose sight of immediate use, though.
Yeah.
There might be this tendency to be all excited about 500,000, and we're going to be developing a project that's going to be several years off. In the meantime, we got to get rid of the poop so that people can use the park, and we've got to, deal with some of those issues. And so, if we want these parks to be used in the next 3 to 4 years, we need to pay some attention to the immediate needs.
Yep. Agreed.
So, public comment? Is there any public comment?
I do have some public comment. So Wade, congratulations to you. I am on this call with Supervisor Tina Roberts-Lightcap, who is also here. At Monday night, we were elected to the Board of Supervisors as chair and vice chair respectfully. And so what we wanted to do was to start going to the different boards and commissions here in the township, introducing ourselves, even though you all know us already. We wanted to be part of the reorganization to congratulate everybody who was either re-elected or newly elected to their different positions. So congratulations to you, Wade, congratulations to you, Peter, and congratulations to you, Jonathan. Basically what the point of this is to say, we appreciate everything that this board has been doing. We appreciate all the work that you do, not just monthly, but daily, to ensure that our parks and our recreation is top notch here in Newtown Township. And in that same breath, we also want to let you all know that we can't serve the residents without your help. And you make it that much easier to do that, to do, as our mission statement says, which is to be the preeminent township here in Delaware County. So we wanted to let you know that we thank you, but more importantly, that you have allies. You have, between Tina and I, two strong individuals, along with the rest of the board, who will work and continue to work with you to achieve your goals, to ensure that we can provide all that we can for our residents. So I know I spoke a lot, but I think Tina has some more things that she wants to add as well.
Well, I won't keep you all. I just wanted to reiterate what Leonard had said and to thank you all. It takes a lot of time away from your day and from your families, and you all have got such great enthusiasm, such great ideas. It's infectious. So we really do appreciate and support. And at any time you need any help, or if you've got any ideas, please reach out to us. We're here for you because you're here for us and for our township and our residents. And we really, truly do appreciate all the work that you do. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leonard. Thanks,
Well,
Tina.
thank you. Can I just say, Leonard and Tina, thank you for serving our community and for being role models for service.
Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Wade, on that note, that was a great thing for Leonard and Tina. I appreciate that. I just had a question I thought maybe we could throw out to the board. You know, I'm greatly concerned about kids, teens, and kids just with regard to especially with the recent uptick in COVID. In addition, mental health from teenagers is really a great issue of concern. And I'd love for us to kind of find some fun way to provide a parks opportunity for us to kind of promote positive mental health. And, you know, some type of activity. We talked about, you know, the chalk art, and that would be obviously the young one, but I really would like us to see if we could think of some things for teenagers specifically and kind of incorporate positive mental health with that. And it maybe, you know, maybe we talk with the music and something else, you know, something new, something fresh, maybe like a coffee idea or something that we could be done outside in the spring. But I really would love us to really focus on our kids, our teenagers, and mental health, I think would be really important.
Well, Sheila, I'm the mother of soon to be 18-year-old twin boys next week. So I agree. The COVID and Zoom has taken a large toll on that. And one of my twins is in marching band and jazz band with Mr. Olympi. He's actually would probably be a good resource to start with.
Awesome.
He's very in tune with the kids and the teenage, you know, the high school kids really do have a lot of respect for him and like him a lot. So I think maybe that might be a good place to start from.
Great. Wade, would you think this would be something the board would be interested in getting behind and maybe kind of coming together with brainstorming on this and kind of seeing how we can attack this? And obviously bringing Tina's sons in would be a great resource. And, you know, Caitlin has young children, but I would love for us to kind of start incorporating mental health into the parks, because especially COVID has changed these kids' lives.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think that we've discussed this for a few years, but you're right. We probably need to put a little more emphasis on it now, considering what they've been through. But I think Tina was referring to Jake Olympi, using him and his.
She's saying Jake, but also I'm saying her son would give us, you know, be a direct vein into what the young children are thinking. I'm not an 18-year-old, and if she has those, that would be great things. But I was thinking, would the board be interested in even pursuing this option before we kind of put any energy into it?
Yes, I think
Yes,
so.
yeah, I think that's great. I think these are all great ideas. I would be excited to help with an event like that for.
So if we focus Newbie on younger children, maybe with the ice cream and the dog, do we focus on a teenager with maybe, you know, a pop-up coffee shop at a park with maybe having access to mental health tables, or maybe having, maybe we check with our Department of Health from the county and see if we can incorporate ways to have open dialogue about, you know, how you're handling the stress of COVID and what are you doing to make, you know, how can you see your way through these? Because I've talked with a lot of kids in my neighborhood who are telling me that their children are having a hard time, and my children are grown. So I'm really more concerned for the community, not my own, because my guys are older, but I think it would be something for us to really use the parks as a way to bring people together to talk about healthful things for everyone.
Bill, do you want to see if you can do a little research and think of a couple ideas? We can all try and think of some ideas, but I think Bill's
I'll try to help.
kind of
Yeah,
lends itself.
Maybe I like the idea about coffee. You know, like an event with coffee, and maybe, I don't know, like another type of activity that might be engaging for teens. And I don't know, I was thinking maybe Gable would be a good spot.
I would say that if we're looking to do it in the spring, it would probably be best suited for Drexel Lodge, because you have the pavilion there and you could set up different conversation areas. And Drexel Lodge would probably be best suited because of the bathroom facilities. And, you know, maybe you can have one section that would be, you know, like the band kind of doing some music, and I don't know, coffee area, or it's something that we definitely, as long as you guys are supportive of this and you think this is something you're interested in, you know, I can work with whoever is interested in this and we can make it happen.
You could do some kind of craft project too, where they could work together and do something?
I
I'm
think if
hoping
we
they're gonna
talk
do
to
the
young
tour.
kids, they'll tell us, the young ones will tell us what is the going thing, because I'm not an 18-year-old. So I'm looking for that maybe 15 to 18 to 19-year-old and get their pulse of what's interesting to them, and we can go from there.
All right,
Sounds
maybe a
great.
survey of some kind.
Good idea.
All right, so we'll add it to the agenda. We're not going to solve it the next month or so, but we'll definitely add it to the agenda and discuss it.
Okay, but when do you guys want to target this? Are we talking April? Are we talking May? Are we talking before the concert, after the concert? When do you think would be a good time to even target this?
Probably April, because once we get to June, then they're out of school and it's less
Summer
contact.
vacation, yeah.
Okay,
And if we do something in April and it works, and maybe we could do something in June, we have some contacts that we've developed from that process.
okay.
I have a contact at Marple Newtown High School who is the head of guidance.
Oh, good.
That's good.
Tracy Jacobson is her name.
Okay, Peter, if you give that to me, we can talk about that. And I'd like to get some county mental health resources, and maybe they can provide some type of peer chatting or something. I don't know, just something that would be helpful to our young.
So
But
if I
this
can
is a
give a plug to
positive.
I would, the school district in Marple Newtown, they were at kind of the forefront of this with regards to our guidance counseling. If you remember back when you were all in high school, the guidance counselor was kind of like the person who solved everything, whether it was a mental health thing or a career strategy question or a class issue. Marple Newtown in probably 2018, 2019 broke our guidance counselors up. So now we have those that are focused purely on, the career path, the college path and your classes, and then also like the mental health side as well. So there's people that are designated to that. That would be a really good resource to kind of go out and talk to them to see, what it is that they think that the young kids in the community might be interested in. But I figured I'd give a plug to the school district for their forward-thinking thought on that process right there.
Yeah, and Leonard, if you could send me the main person's contact that I can maybe reach out to and just kind of start it, and we'll wait, I'll touch back a bit with you and see who's interested, because I know Bill said he was interested, Caitlin is, and we can kind of just get some information together. But since I'm not a board member, I can talk with 2 or 3 of you and not have a quorum.
Okay, so we will all see what we can do with that. It's a great idea, Sheila. Thank you.
Yes, Sheila, and count me in on that one.
Is there anything else that anyone wants to add for the next agenda?
Yeah, let's put the shade thing back on. We were going to talk about having somebody come out and take a look at it and make a proposal so we can spend that money, get some shade, and get people using Brookside.
Mhm. So maybe we could have something by spring in
Yep.
place.
Yeah, because we'll want to, I'm just telling you, what we're finding is if we want something, whatever we thought the time frame was, I'm about doubling it for delivery right now. So
Yeah.
if
yeah.
we want
Things are
something in
hard
the
to get.
spring, we probably want to be ready to kind of make some decisions, maybe at the February meeting.
I did notice that the Delaware County Intermediate Unit School, they have a big
Yeah, they have
big
one,
umbrellas
yes.
there too.
Yeah, I think so.
They want to,
I just noticed that this week.
yeah, I think they're new.
I think so.
Where? Intermediate on Malin Road, the building there right near where
Oh,
next to the,
yeah.
yeah, next to St. Luke's.
Right before you get
or
to
up the street from St.
Westchester
Luke's.
Pike.
Yeah. All right, I'll look. You know where it's at, Bill? Think about this.
Bill, you're muted. Bill, we're not hearing you. You're muted.
If I'm going east on Route 3, I come to Malin Road. Where do I go? Left or right?
If you're heading east, you'd go left, the Malin Road, north of Westchester Pike. And then you go past St. Luke's Church, and then on your right, there'll be a
Delaware
school.
County Intermediate Unit?
That's it, the yeah, DCIU.
Okay, I'll find it.
I guess that's it. And we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Wade. Thanks, everybody.